big fan of the series and a big fan of the books, actually. What is it about Hari in this season that differs from season 1 and season 2?
Well, there's 2 versions of him still, and one of the versions has sort of accepted the fact that Gale has these sort of special abilities, and she's found a community of people with like abilities, and that they're going to be instrumental in trying to catch the second foundation up to where they need to be. So in that way, he has to surrender some of the agency to her. And it's sort of he's becomes a little bit more human. Yeah. And then the second version of him is well, there's 2 things going on. One is he's discovered in season 2 that he's not the master of his own destiny, that he's been digitally altered by the other, his consciousness has been altered by the other version of himself. And that's created a kind of existential crisis within the character. But that character still can only operate from the information that he has, which is increasingly more unreliable.
I know the series got some really complex themes, but it's no more. I think probably the text, the original text, is even more complex than that.
Yeah,
is that something that you grew up with?
I only read the books after I signed on. I hadn't read them when I was younger.
And what has been what was your first sort of thing?
When I read the books,
yeah.
How impossible it would be to translate these to the screen, because they're essentially. They're not too dissimilar from sort of Plato's dialectics. They're conversations about the nature of society and of the future. They're long, long conversations. And that doesn't make for, the sort of storytelling that millions of people tune into, So, but that was a problem and a challenge that was faced and solved long before I got on board, so... And my responsibility is to play the version of the character that's in the scripts, and it's not the one that's in the books. In fact, I wouldn't have signed on if it was the one that was in the books, because he only appears in one story. Yeah. So.
I know. I mean, this, like as I said, it is a very complex story, complex saga, really. Are you much of a fan of like sort of sci-fi stuff, like Asimov's?
Love sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
And is it? Oh, when you get a script about a sci-fi story, do you always?
I always hope that it's going to be like, yes, this is going to. What's great about sci-fi is you can have huge sci-fi, which is across a whole galaxy with lots of different worlds and different iterations of humans, or you can have tiny sci-fi like a machine comes back from the future to kill somebody, and because then you can change the future. And there's that sci-fi's an idea that doesn't require a lot of what you would think it would be in sci-fi until the very end of that movie, where you have the what would you call it, the T-100 or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, you have a real exciting ability with sci-fi to deal with. You can just pull the thread on the idea, or you can create these sort of huge operas. I love it.
We've seen you do an array of different characters in the much-loved sci-fis, including the one I really liked, which was in Fringe. And do you have like a favourite character you've ever played in these kind of shows?
Well, other than this one, I have a particular soft spot for Anderson Dawes in The Expanse, I was always sorry that there was talk at one point about bringing that character back for like 1.5 seasons and a whole. I think it was going to be in season 4 and 5, but it didn't happen. But I'm really happy with what we got to achieve with that version of the character. And I remember it was when I saw one of the first episodes, because you have this sort of idea about the character, and that was sort of pretty much out there. And particularly when they talked about the belter aspect and the way that he was going to speak, he could speak. And they had sort of 3 degrees of belter patois that you could use. And it was sort of mild, medium, and really spicy. And I went for really spicy because he was supposed to be the original, belter, if you like. And when I saw how it all came together and it worked, I was really satisfied with the way that happened. But yeah. I also love that idea because it actually occupies a space in sci-fi that's not really done a lot, because normally it's either a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away or way far in the future. And this was only a couple of 100 years from now. And it sort of dealt with the idea of science fiction where we're still within our solar system, but we're sort of at a sort of tipping point where we're trying to get beyond it, And we've brought all of our problems with us. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time again. Really, congratulations. I love the series.
Thank you. Bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!